What Crossings does for people who are not preachers is that it allows them to hear a good sermon, even if one might not be preached.
All of my imperfections being smart for generosity.
It's become such a way of life for me.
Crossings is not a sect of Christianity. Crossings is a tool that we use to understand Christianity.
A way of understanding life. It's a lens.
It really is good, and it is something new.
I love to get out into the mountains, and I frequently fly fish, I backpack, I cycle, and the entire time I am in awe of God's beauty. My friend and I frequently speak about the wonders of God, the beautiful creation that we get to live in. Brad and I are in awe, and we speak of the awe. We think about how beautiful the trouts are, how cooling and refreshing the rivers are, to see the mountains in their purple mountain majesty. It's beautiful. A narcissistic God wouldn't give us a beautiful universe. He wouldn't give us something to stare at and say, you better love me or I'm going to take this away. I don't see that happening. I don't hear it happening. I don't believe God is going to do that on a whim. I remember having a conversation with my friend Paul over a libation on why we are Christians. And Paul was emphatic in being a Christian because of the life that it brings after death. I debated with Paul and said, you know what, I think I'm a Christian, or I know I'm a Christian because of the life that it brings now. It provides an opportunity to live with grace. Christ coming into my life on a daily basis to pull me out of my hell, because I know what hell on earth can be like, is ultimately why I'm a Christian. Let me give you an example. My wife's mom, 2 years ago, Alice was her name, was passing away from ovarian cancer. And I noticed that my wife, to her tremendous credit, wanted to be next to her mom 24 hours a day. Yet I also saw it eating away at my wife a little bit as she needed to take care of herself. And I, being the macho man that I am, decided that I wanted to help my wife. Running, I think, was the last thing on my wife's mind. But I knew that running would produce chemicals in the brain that would help her assist her mom even more in the dying process. It would give her clearer thoughts. We debated whether or not we should run for not 1 hour or 2 or even a day, but for multiple days. And the more I asked, the more she got angry. And so here we were in this moment of life that's not happy, that's not easy. And I had compounded it 50-fold by creating an unhealthy marriage environment. In my wife's view, she probably could have used me not around. It would have been better had I not been around. And the only way that we were able to get through that moment was for me to finally realize that I had gotten us into this hell, and to ask for total forgiveness and say, Annette, I am sorry, please forgive me. Though I never wish it upon anybody or wish that upon ourselves, got to experience the dying process with joy together. What I think is unique about Christianity, what I know is unique about Christianity, is that the forgiveness that I'm asking and that Annette is bestowing upon me is greater than anything that Annette could ever give to me. I have a very dear friend whose husband cheated on her multiple times. It tore her family apart. And it tore her apart. And it would be very simple for me to say, I forever hate this individual. But through this Crossings lens, through this Christian lens, I'm unable to hate. I don't want to hate. I want to be able to see this individual and still smile and wave and for it to be genuine. I know that he is still a child of God as well. And Crossings allows me to understand that. As much as he has hurt me, as much as he's hurt my best friends, he too deserves the same amount of forgiveness as I have been given. Where the lens of Christianity is a freedom to live my life, freedom to make mistakes, and freedom to know that Christ covers everything, their crossings will be. My kids are going to fail me. I have a son, 1 year old right now, and he's going to become disobedient, I imagine, in the near future. He will want to stretch the boundaries to figure out who he is as an individual. We will hurt each other. What I don't want to happen, and what I would foresee happening if Crossings wasn't in my life, is a pursuit to please each other. Me to be the best dad possible so that my son loves me, and similarly, my son and any other children I might have might be out to please, and if they are unable to please, then they are bad children. That is not the message that I want to give to my children. What Crossings enables me to do is to have future conversations with my children, to point out areas of hurt, point out areas of failure, my own failure, their failure, but also extend the hand of grace and forgiveness and say, I love you, I forgive you. And that is grace that comes from God, not just me. Often we hear individuals using the Bible as a mode to oppress other people, saying that you cannot be a Christian until you stop sinning. But I choose not to. I don't see the Bible or God being a God of oppression, but more a God of freedom. And what Crossings teaches us is we are all sinners, and we are all saints. I want to worship a God and believe in a God and have faith in a God that expects nothing in return. I believe we often funnel God into a narcissistic role, and we have to please him or her in order to be saved. We have to do the right thing in order to be loved. And the alternative, or the opposite God, is a loving God, a caring God, that is willing to take anything that we do and turn it into love, a true love for what we have done. That is the God that I want, and that is the God that I believe in, and I believe that is the God that Crossings allows us to view. Crossings is not a tool to interpret the scriptures to prove your own points. Crossings is a tool to interpret the scriptures to know who is in charge and who is capable of providing forgiveness and who is capable of changing your script.